Survivor Series War Games, an event that's gotten headlines, but for the wrong reasons. Now, personally, I wasn't too hyped about this event. The thing I was most looking forward to wasn't even the matches. It was actually the stadium. I wanted to see how the stadium would look in the evening in San Diego. I thought it had a good vibe about it. But show, on the other hand, well, that's a different story. Women's War Games. Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, AJ Lee, and Io Sky faced the team of Asuka, Kairi Sane, Nia Jax, Lash Legend, and Becky Lynch. Charlotte Flair and Asuka started things off. Both women had a solid battle here ahead of the incoming violence. Then Io came and she dazzled. Becky, Alexa follow up, but the match had technically not begun yet, so the real stuff was yet to come. The core of this match was based on Io and Asuka's relationship. And that was most of the middle part, I'd say. Kairi was vicious and finally bought into Asuka, which wasn't the case previously. Becky Lynch was treating AJ Lee like Prime Undertaker or something. She's completely scared of her. Kairi seemed to have a lot of fun here. Nia Jax changes everything before Rhea comes in and she has all the momentum. Lash Legend was the last woman left to enter. And at this point, I thought to myself, I don't get why they removed the shark cages. It was just odd. Lash Legend's first real introduction to the main roster was this match, and they did a good job in presenting her as the next star. The match officially starts, and I thought that it was better than last year. The action was, of course, all over the place, seeing as it's War Games. You know, they're throwing moves out there, the near falls, all that stuff. They did a smart thing by having Asuka accidentally miss Lash Legend, who was a bit dominant, as that ended up stopping her momentum. Charlotte saved Rhea in that moment, which did a lot for the teamwork. There's the yearly Io Sky spot, and then Becky Lynch is stuck. She's stuck. She takes the finishers like Solo did last year. It ends with a Black Widow, and AJ Lee's the one who scores the victory for the woman here during War Games. Good matchup. I don't think it's anything like special, but at the end of the day, it's a good War Games match. I think I enjoyed it more than last year, I'd say, but that's just based on my memory. They brought all the stories here. They wrapped them up nicely. Io and the Kabuki Warriors. But they're better off doing this in a Survivor Series elimination match, because there wasn't exactly brutality or some violence or something else scary with War Games here at all. And that's a common issue. I believe it happened at the main event as well. There's not that kind of good anarchy that you'd imagine a War Games match to have. It just isn't. Even though I say it's a good match, I just don't think it's one you'll want to rewatch. I don't have any interest in wanting to rewatch this match. It's just there was nothing, there was no intense finale. It didn't feel like they went through hell. None of that was apparent here, and that's the issue with War Games as a yearly concept. And the next match was for the Intercontinental Championship. John Cena defends the gold against Dominic Mysterio. Grand Slam John Cena. It was very surreal to see initially, because the thought of John Cena with the Intercontinental title was one of the imagination. They had a good match the other day for the title, so obviously they were going to do things a little differently here. Dominic got a great reaction from his hometown, but Cena was on a whole different level. The stadium looked beautiful, it looked different, unique with the sun setting in the building seen from a distance, and Dominic was out with the Judgment Day again, which hadn't been seen often recently, seeing as they're telling a story of dissension. This was a very simple match that maximized reactions. It's all about the hype moment. Dom being the sleazy heel, he's bending the rules, and with Roxanne and Raquel by his side, they provided an additional advantage. There was this weird Hurricanrana moment where it seemed like Dom hurt himself. This was proven to be an elaborate ruse. Roxanne and Raquel took advantage. Dom reveals he fakes the injury, but the ref doesn't care. At this point, I thought to myself, this guy had a bet on this match for sure. One of those parlay things. They were wrestling with hype moments and the signature moves. Back and forth. The Judgment Day get ejected. Ref gets knocked down. Balor, JD come out. They get jobbed out. Destroyed by John Cena, who has the super boost at this point. Near falls finishers, all that. And then from out of nowhere, Liv Morgan returned. Liv Morgan returned. She had this great reaction from the crowd, and it had been a while since we seen her. Then, all of a sudden, it seemed like she turned on Dom. He's all happy thinking she's gonna get with him. Then, boom, slaps him. Cena's like, what's going down? They do the reverse heel turn thing. It was just WWE hype moment stuff. You guys get it. She ends up blowing him. Dom takes advantage and finally wins the belt again. Yeah, it was just a match based on hype moments. But they got the reactions, you know? At the end of the day, they got the reactions. Everyone was going crazy. And these guys probably hit a grand total of 8 moves collectively, you know? They had the crowd behind them in ways that many of the talent aren't going to be able to, because they're invested in the characters. Match is not that, like, as a wrestling match, it's not that good. It's more of a hype moment thing. Once again, John Cena ends his pay-per-view career with some shenanigans. I mean, the common thing with his pay-per-view matches. I do look forward to December 13th, though. Dom was smart here once more. They did the whole thing, you know, it's like Eddie's son and all that stuff. It doesn't really save the match. It's kind of like, it's more hype, as I said. I wasn't really thinking too hard about this match. Like, yeah, John Cena could have done something different, but at the end of the day, he's the one that chose these final opponents. If you hate it, it's not going to change a single thing. It's what he wanted. Although, what we want was probably better. But Liv Morgan is back. We'll see how things go at the Judgment Day. Surely she's gonna cause some issues from within, and that'll lead to something big, but we'll see. La Primera defends the Women's World Championship against Nikki Bella. Nikki once again turns heel for a title feud. It's similar to the Ronda Rousey one in 2018. This was a very house show match. Number one, nobody in their right mind thought that La Primera Stephanie Vaquer would lose here. Better chance of John Cena getting a rematch during the show than that happened. And with regards to the match itself, Nikki was very dominant here, but it wasn't that inspiring. I will say though that Nikki does work way better as a heel. We just want to mention, but the crowd didn't seem into it. It felt like it was just happening. There was, see, I'm gonna say at a loss for words, but it's just not exactly interesting to yap about this match. Nikki dominates. Vaquer makes her comeback. She does the devil's kiss on the announce table with Wade Barrett kind of going crazy. Michael Cole acting all innocent, like whatever, ignoring it. She hits the corkscrew and that's it. That's the match. And I'm really trying to think of much to say about it, but every once in a while there comes that match where you just don't know what to say. It's just like there. And this is one of those. When you think about it, this match should have been on Raw. Like, I don't think this belonged on Survivor Series at all. It wasn't threatening. It wasn't a big title match. None of that. Obviously, Stephanie wasn't going to lose here. And she was never in danger. That's the problem with this match. They never even teased that Nikki Bella had a chance. She just dominated the early parts. Match goes on. She loses, that's it. And the main event, the men's War Games match. Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, and Jey Uso against Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, and Brock Lesnar. They made mention of some baby drama and egos regarding these guys. There was also a rumor around earlier today about this, although it's probably some WWE Unreal stuff, seeing as that's what excites Triple H the most. This was supposed to be the Vision's War Game, but then Seth Rollins got hurt. With Brock, he's the big secret weapon for Paul Heyman in his battle against the Avengers. Reigns, Punk, and Cody have ego. Jay himself has plenty of ego recently, so I was of the belief that this drama would continue to escalate here. I don't know if it's the lighting, but Breaker really looked like three different shades, and the lighting at some points made it seem like he washed off DX spray paint or something, because it was kind of greenish by the lighting. I don't know. Punk had a tough time with Breaker, but with Drew McIntyre, it was only going to get worse. They finally re-explored the story again, which was WWE's best feud last year. Punk was destroyed in these few minutes before Cody Rhodes came in with the Super Cena boost. And there's the drama. Rhodes and Punk after an accidental elbow. Braun Breaker looked like a maniac after this doomsday device as he landed on his neck and casually sat there like he was slapped silly with the world spinning around him like a cartoon. Like, bro, you should not be sitting down. You should be down on the mat in pain. Logan Paul could get heat quicker than you could snap your finger, and the guy's really hit. I don't even need to explain why. It's not the video for it, but these guys are farming here. Jimmy Uso didn't do much to stop their momentum, and it went from bad to worse with Bronson Reed. I thought the Jay thing was silly, to be honest. I don't care if you call me a hater. I don't give a damn. We gotta be real. And the reason why I say that is because this is War Games. It's supposed to be this violent, brutal match, yet this guy finds the time to dance, bro. It's not even like the Royal Rumble where the ring is empty. Like, this is a battle. This is the problem with WWE. They force the hype moments and the aura moments during matches at times. It doesn't need to happen constantly. Like, we know what these guys do. We know their emotes or signatures or taunts, whatever the hell you want to call them. We don't need to see them in every match. We're gonna see Jay do this probably tomorrow, so it's not exactly a worry for us. Brock Lesnar was presented as the disruptor once more. He wreaked havoc on the match and obliterated every single one of the four men opposing him, and we all know what this was to set up. Roman Reigns. Now, Roman Reigns looked like the number one guy in this match. Let's not lie to ourselves. They're presenting him as the star, the number one guy coming out. He has all the shine. He battles with Brock, and at this point, I thought the match was good, but right when they entered War Games and the match officially began, I started having a problem with it, because you could just say it's just a match at this point. They're just beating on each other. Nothing notable. Maybe Roman using the brass knuckles to hit the Superman punch. I don't know, but it just wasn't as exciting as they made it out to be once War Games officially began. They were going back and forth here. They're trading finishers and moves, the near falls. Braun Breaker was still crazy. And then from out of nowhere, a mystery masked man came out. And at this point, I thought, oh my god, they got Solo Sikoa back. Bloodline lore with the mystery guy, all that stuff. Turns out it's some guy who emulates Seth Rollins. He hits the super kick and the stomp. Good stomp, by the way, just want to mention. Maybe it is Austin Theory, I don't know. They're leaving that open. This leads to Breaker scoring the victory. Yeah, I thought the match was going good, but right when War Games officially began, I just didn't like it as much as they wanted me to. And if you're wondering why, I just feel like the War Games concept is tired at this point. They don't make them distinctive enough from each other unless they have a big story heading into it, like Sami Zayn and the Bloodline and all that stuff. They just don't feel distinctive. The Vision won the match here, even Brock celebrating with them all happy, and right afterwards we get our teaser of what could possibly be the big WrestleMania match in Las Vegas. I wasn't a big fan of the match. I also personally don't hope Seth Rollins faked another injury. Like, that would be boring as hell for storyline purposes. With regards to Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, I don't oppose it entirely, honestly. Like, to be honest, 100% with you guys, straight up, I can't oppose it. because I feel like with a series like this, it has to be a trilogy. I personally would prefer for it to happen next year or the year after, but who knows if it's gonna go down. They did the teaser here. Roman's like, this is the last time we're gonna team up, you know, bloodline drama. And I'm not hyped for it right now. I'm not gonna lie to you guys and say I'm hyped. But I think once the bell rings in April, I'm gonna be excited for it. I just feel like that match needs a huge story with it. Maybe they could explore this Cody heel turn then. I don't know, but it needs a huge story to it to match the other two. The other two had something big to them. The Bloodline title reign. Then WrestleMania 40 had The Rock, the big obstacles for Cody. They need something massive for 42 if they wanted to match the previous matches. Very important. Like, they could just go out there and say who's the best, all that stuff. But for the build and for the match itself to be memorable, they need a big story. Alright, that's Survivor Series War Games. Not my favorite event. I just don't care for the War Games thing. The matches are just there. They happen, whatever. There's no creativity with them. And if we're going to do a yearly thing, why don't we just do the elimination matches, the Survivor Series ones? Those used to bring plenty of drama as well, and they've been doing them for 30 years. Why can't we just continue doing that? I never understood it, honestly, the fact that they removed the Survivor Series concept in favor of War Games. Like, they could do War Games here and there, but when they make it a yearly thing, it's like they have to force these stories to be special enough for War Games when they're just not the case. Match of the night, I give it to the main event. Right when War Games began, I didn't care for it as much as I should have, so yeah. Alright, what do you guys think of Survivor Series? Please comment down below. And that's for this video. Make sure you hit the genius in the sky on the like button and perhaps the spear on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.